Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the Internet Citadel Show. We apologize we're starting a little bit late, but we had a little bit of technical difficulty. We overcame that. The beautiful thing is this is being recorded, and you'll be able to go back and watch the show in its entirety if this goes too long for you. Typically, our shows run an hour, so we'll be running till about 7:15 or so Pacific Standard Time. That goes beyond your time. Again, we value your time as much as we value ours. This video of this show will be available for you to watch afterward. We're going to jump right into it. First of all, I'd like to introduce my wonderful business partner and friend. She's been an operations manager and sales manager for over 25 years in a Fortune 500 company. She's got network marketing experience that goes back to the mid-'80s. She's been an affiliate marketer, which I like to call her the queen of affiliate marketing. She is fantastic at affiliate marketing, dating back to the early 90s. In fact, just today she informed me that eBay sent her a certificate of recognition and award. She is now deemed a power seller on eBay. That's quite an accomplishment, and congratulations for that. She's also currently a national marketing and sales director for a wonderful new bridal shoe company called Bliss Bridal Shoes. So be sure to check them out at blissbridalshoes.com. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce my wonderful friend and partner, Kathy Stover. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Brian. Good evening. You always say such wonderful things about me. Thank you so much. I want to share a little bit about Brian with you. For those of you who have not been on here with us before, my tongue's getting tight here. I just want to tell you that Brian has over 23 years of software experience, and he was also a co-owner for 6 years in a travel-based MLM company. So he's got a plethora of experience. He is also a phenomenal software engineer. I want you to look down at the bottom here. He's got a product. It's called Tweet Performance. It's absolutely incredible for any of you that are new to Twitter or who've been involved with Twitter for a while. The other thing is Brian is an absolute Twitter and social media enthusiast. He has, I don't want to tell him how many accounts, but he has got a lot of accounts, a lot of experience, and in one of them, over 53,000 followers. So Brian is one to follow as well. I just want to thank him. He is an absolute treasure. He put all of this together, all the technology, so that we can come each week to you with our special guest and share. And I just want to say, Brian, it's a pleasure each week on Tuesday to share the platform with you. Thank you so much, and turning it back over to you to tell us about our guest.
Thank you as well, Kathy. This is indeed a hoot. I love doing this. So do you, I know. Every week we get to meet some fantastic guests. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next guest. I apologize, but I'm going to read an intro about our next guest. It's lengthy, but it's also very quality-based. It's got a lot of great info. It helps you to understand who you are listening to and watching on our show. Linda Jones is CEO and founder of the Visionary Investor, the Global Institute of Women Investors, and the Global Institute of Individual Investors, also known as GI3 Connect. Prior to that, she was a regional vice president of institutional funds, mutual funds, and hedge funds for a major stock brokerage firm for 9 years, where she was responsible for territory sales of over $200 million annually. She has been in the financial services industry for over 27 years. Born and raised in Seattle, Washington, Linda graduated from the University of Washington with a BA in business. She began her career in financial planning with Foster and Marshall Shearson, not her, Foster and Marshall Shearson, and was promoted to their offices in San Francisco and New York City, where she had the pleasure of working in the World Trade Center. That's remarkable right there. At age 27, after studying dozens of classic millionaires like Rockefeller, Carnegie, Getty, Onassis, and others, she began teaching how to become a millionaire, which became her 8-step wealth blueprint for creating her own fortune. Linda is a board and investment committee member for Sight Life, which is a leader in cornea recovery and transplantation, an investment committee member of the Sunset Club, and a speaker and community advocate for the Living Legacy Foundation, which is a leader in organ donation. She founded the Global Institute of Individual Investors and the Visionary Investor. to follow her passion for investing and teaching others how to have investment success and build wealth. My, what a nice long introduction for a wonderful guest that Kathy and I met just, what was it, a week ago in Los Angeles at a wonderful event where we were networking. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Linda P. Jones. How you doing, Linda?
Great, Brian. Thanks, Kathy and Brian, for having me tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
It's great to be here.
Thank you so much
for coming on. Linda. Good to see you again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, you too.
All right, Linda, we're going to jump right into this because we started a little late. But I understand that you used to actually work in the corporate world, and you no longer do so. Would you mind telling the audience why that is and what led you to leaving the corporate world?
Yeah, well, I had a great career. I really enjoyed what I did. I had an unfortunate situation where my husband passed away suddenly from a brain aneurysm in 2005. And it really made me reevaluate my entire life and what I was doing. And I just decided that I should be using my talents for something other than helping rich people to become richer. And I really felt that I needed to be sharing what I knew about finances and investing with other people. So after being in the industry for 25 years, I retired in January of 2007. And then after the financial crisis in 2008, I started looking around for who was teaching about wealth and investing, and I really didn't see people teaching the way I thought it should be taught. And so I said, well, I guess it's going to be me to teach it. So here I am.
Fantastic.
Yeah, what a great story. Something that I wanted to ask, Linda, is there's a lot of people, I have to get my glasses here because I wrote down. There are a lot of people out there that are teaching finance and money management. How is it that you're different?
Well, I had a passion about investing since I was a little child. I was curious how to make $1 become $2 and how to make 2 become 4. And I read Think and Grow Rich when I was about 10 years old.
Wow.
I just always had a passion about investing and how money worked. I wanted to know how money worked because I wanted to be rich someday. And so I studied that, and as Brian said, I created an 8-step wealth blueprint that I ended up following because the information that I read that the millionaires had followed wasn't what I learned in business school. It wasn't what I learned when I got my financial planner, my certified financial planner designation. And it wasn't what I learned working for a stock brokerage firm. There were different principles than what I had learned in the traditional channels about investing. And so I realized that once I followed those steps, and I was worth over $1 million when I was 38 years old, then when I was 39 years old, I made $1 million in 1 year by investing in the stock market. And so I realized that I had that information to share with other people. I'm someone who's done it myself, and so I can teach other people how to do it.
Fantastic. What exactly is this 8-step wealth blueprint? Or I understand it's a document, and how can people access that, or can they?
Well, I've actually started putting it together, and it's going to be published in book format, but I'm also working with people to teach the steps, and I've created a couple of teleclass series that I've recorded that I've put kind of parts of it on, but I don't have the whole thing recorded in one series yet. But basically there's 8 steps. The first step is mindset, which is really how you think and your thoughts and beliefs about wealth. The second step is planning and saving for your nest egg. And we can go back and talk more about any of these steps, but the third step is investing, finding a money engine to invest your money. The fourth is to compound it at the highest rate possible. The fifth is to leverage to get a higher return. And the sixth is to protect what you have. And the seventh is to give thanks, be grateful, have an attitude of gratitude. And the 8th step is to give money away.
Well, Linda, we have a lot of home-based business entrepreneurs that follow us on the show each week. In the first step, you were talking about having the right mindset. How can that be applicable, and can it be? Is it to any particular group, or should we all have a particular mindset?
Well, I think that there is such a thing as a wealth mindset. You know, the movie The Secret thought about a little bit about that. But it's not enough just to sit and think about being wealthy. But you do need to make a decision to be wealthy, and you need to also believe that you can be. So people need to have that belief that it's something they can accomplish, because if they don't believe it, it's hard for them to keep the persistence that's necessary in order for them to achieve it. So belief and mindset are definitely important. That's the foundation, really, of it. But you also need to have a big why to know why you want to become rich, what's your motivation that's going to keep you going. And then from there, they need to reprogram some of their subconscious beliefs, because we all have beliefs that we think from childhood or from our parents or from things we've life that aren't necessarily positive about money, and they're in our subconscious, kind of gunking up our minds. So we need to do some affirmations to kind of reprogram our subconscious too, and do some visualization affirmations to reprogram that.
I love that, because you know, we were in that LA event, what was it called? The Wealth Builder Summit. Yeah, that was, name's great. Way to go, Brian. It was a wonderful time, and Linda, we got to know you pretty well, and you are extremely humble, by the way. I had no idea you had already reached over $1 million worth. That's incredible. Very humble, very kind individual. Loved getting to know you there. But one of the overall themes I noticed, and this occurs every time I attend one of these type of events, is everything you just said. You know, we have millionaires strutting across the stage, and even today a millionaire isn't as once prominent as it used to be. You really need to be more than a millionaire these days to really have made it, so to speak, as far as not having to work a 9 to 5 or go to work each and every day, or leave the corporate world as you have, Linda. But make a decision to be wealthy. Think about it. It's a mindset. We hear this over and over and over again, and the only reason I'm going on about this is everyone watching or listening right now, it's the absolute truth. I used to think, yeah, right, what a bunch of hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. Just think and you'll grow rich, you know, like the book says. And like Linda, you pointed out, I'm glad you pointed out, you can't just sit there and think about it and it's going to happen. It's a combination of things, but it is definitely one component that leads to wealth. And I've seen it time and time again. I've talked to individual after individual, and it's always the same. There are other factors that go into it, many more, but these are always the ones that surface at the top. You know, focus is another one. Know your why, like you said, belief and mindset. All of those very, very repetitive. Every person that I saw go up on that stage mentioned these same qualities, and it takes a person to finally just say, you know what, I'm not there yet. They are there yet. Maybe I should listen to them. And finally, that was something that smacked me in the face a couple of years ago, and finally, starting to get down and get serious about it. And Kathy and I now are growing a business together, which is on its way to that step. We hope to become like Linda Jones, and be as prominent as she is, and be out there helping people as she is right now. And on that note, and I'm rambling like forever here, but I'm sorry, but be sure to click on Linda's picture. I always say click on her nose. That'll take you to her website. There's also an image near the bottom that says be prepared to invest and be rich. Go to that website, watch her short video, opt in, and get the additional information that Linda has to offer. Be sure to visit that site. All right, I am off my soapbox here. Are there easy strategies?
Well, there was something else that Linda was talking about when we were at the Wealth Builder Summit, and that was, and her and I, we had a conversation after as well. She was talking about some of the people that were there, and the fact that a lot of them had made a lot of money and lost a lot of money and made a lot of money. So with that being said, and Linda pointing that out, what she has to offer and share will help you when you have attained that status to keep it, so you're not going the make it, lost it, made it. Is that correct, Linda?
Exactly. A lot of people made a lot of money in the last decade, especially in real estate. Some people weren't really even sure how they made that much money. Other people were in the industry and made a very high income for many years, but had difficulty transposing high income into high net worth. And so what happened was, now in hindsight, we know that we were in a bubble, but had they been able to foresee where they were, they might have been able to take steps to protect their wealth, and so that they wouldn't have lost their wealth as quickly as they made their wealth. And so one of the things that I teach is how to identify when you're in a bubble, how to protect your assets from losing everything, how to transpose high income into high net worth, and then how to identify future bubbles so that you can make your next fortune in the next bubble that's coming.
Excellent.
Well,
so that's something I really
do you determine Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's just something I don't hear other people talking about or teaching.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, how do you recognize when there's a bubble? I mean, in the past, now looking back, we see that was the case, but what could you share with us that would give us an indication of what that is?
Good question.
Okay, well, it's a combination of factors. And basically, one of the most telling from a return standpoint is in a 1-year period, you'll usually have a 40 to 100% move in a 1-year period of time. So if you remember back to 1999, remember the tech bubble?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you remember how stocks went up? The NASDAQ was up 70% in 1999. And between January and March, it went up even more. And that kind of fast return in a short period of time is usually marking the top of the bubble. But besides that, there's all this anecdotal evidence that people can see if they look. And actually, it helped me determine when to sell my primary residence, because I had planned to sell it at some point. And when I saw certain factors happening, like in my hometown of Bellevue, Washington, there were 27 cranes on the skyline, second only to the number of cranes in the world to Singapore.
Wow.
So when I saw 27 cranes building condos and office buildings and everything, I had my friend take a picture, and I said, someday we're going to look at this, and I'm going to say, how could people not say that we were in a bubble? Because this is insane. We'll probably never see this again in our lifetime. But in addition to that, other anecdotal evidence, like television shows called Flip This House. I remember on the news, there was a news story about a condominium site in Florida where people could go on the web and look at condos to buy and flip. That was very close to the top when that actually made the news and that was reported. So there's anecdotal evidence. When you hear people quitting their job because they're going to flip houses full time, or when you hear they're going to quit their job to become a day trader full time, those are definite signs of a top, because people think that the bubble's going to go up forever. They think that they finally discovered the true way to wealth, and it was hiding from them for a period of time, and now they know that this is truly it. That's not it. That's when you're in the bubble, and that's when it's about to burst.
Wow.
So there's all kinds of anecdotal evidence like that. Another story that I like to tell is John F. Kennedy's father, Joseph, was a major investor in the stock market in the 1920s. And one day he went to have his shoe shined, and the shoe shine boy gave him a stock to buy. And he went to the stock exchange immediately and sold his entire portfolio into cash, because he figured that if the shoe shine boy was already investing in the market, then everybody who could be investing in the market was already in, and there was no one else to invest, so he needed to get out. Wow. So I actually had that happen to me in 2000. I was getting a package at the door from a UPS delivery person. Not that they're the lowest, on the totem pole, but just kind of randomly, he just said to me, hey, I'm glad that Cisco's stock is down today because I'm going to buy some more. And I never met this person before. I've never even said 5 words to him. And that's what he said to me. And,
wow.
That was probably a really good indicator that we were near the top. So there's anecdotal evidence as well as performance evidence.
Well, how can we, right now, because the way the economy is, a lot of people say this is a prime time. It's really not a bad time. You know, people are losing their homes and they've lost their jobs, but it's really a good time in a lot of cases. So how can we use this time in particular to rebuild our portfolio or take whatever we're doing in our home-based businesses and put it out there to start investing now and for our future? What would you suggest, and what kind of strategies would you suggest for us?
Well, first of all, I think that this can be a good time. However, I also feel that we are really in uncharted territories, and where our economy is headed, we have not actually experienced before. I think we've got some very difficult times ahead. So I am not of the opinion that everything's going to be hunky-dory and this is like a run-of-the-mill recession that we're going to just, that's going to be over and it's back to the races. We're going to have some really difficult times. But having said that, challenging times do create opportunities, and they create big shifts of money. And for people who know where to invest and know what to do to take advantage of that, they're going to do really well. But it's not going to be in the traditional ways that we've seen in the past. It's going to be in different types of investments than we've seen in the past, because bubbles don't reinflate really quickly. So for those who think they can buy low now in real estate and make a killing, I'm of a different opinion. I don't think we're anywhere near the bottom in real estate yet. And we can talk more about that. Having said that, for the big picture, I think home-based businesses and internet businesses are great businesses for people to be starting, because you can really get in touch with your market and you can turn on a dime and move if you need to move into other areas or other things that are needed as the economy changes. So I think for people that are in home-based businesses and internet businesses, they're in the perfect place to do really well going forward.
That's fantastic.
And so that would be even in... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You actually bring up a great lesson, Linda. I mean, you talked about, we do have troubled times now, and it may get worse in the near future. But like you said, challenging times create opportunities. So there again, we're talking about the mindset. It's not about what is happening today, but how you react to what's happening today. So if you take the news and you take it at face value, you're going to be a mighty depressed individual thinking that troubled times are ahead, not only for everyone in that's being talked about in the media, but for me too. Well, that's not necessarily the case, and I'm so glad you talked about online businesses, because I was there applauding, because that is where it's at. I think it's a recession-proof industry personally, but very good point, and a lot of lessons to be learned just from listening to you. A lot of just little nuggets hidden in what you're talking about, and I just love this. It's fantastic. Go ahead, Kathy. Sorry to step on you again.
No, that's okay. I just was rolling on. You know how I do sometimes. But what I was going to say was, from, an internet business or a home-based business, if they are working a 9-to-5 job or whatever outside of the home, investing in internet economy and home-based business would be a nice little kicker, because like you just said, you can move it around. You know when to move. You can see it. You can feel it, because it's very evident when you're working on the internet continually. So would that be a good place to maybe stick a little bit of money and get something rolling on the side to bring in some additional income?
Absolutely. I just read Gary Vaynerchuk's book. He's the gentleman that has the wine library online. And he runs his dad's wine shop and has built it to a great business. And what he talks about is encouraging people to study and get an online business and use their time in the evening or in the morning to really start their business if they're currently employed at a job. And I'm of the opinion that we all have been given talents and gifts to share, and we have passions that we love to do that are things that come easy for us, but we might not even appreciate them because they're so easy that we don't see the skill that we really have. And so I really think people can take their passion and turn that into a business very easily, and for a very low cost online, using the power of the internet. not only can you market extremely effectively and not have to have a big outlay of money, but there's just so much opportunity to market to the entire world. You know, in the past, you had to be a shopkeeper on the corner and open your store, and you could only sell within a few blocks. Now you have the entire world that you can market to, and it's really leveled the playing field. And, you know, you two are prime examples because you have your own television show, and anybody else normally would have to go through the regular channels to be on network TV. So, you know, that's really changed.
Another nugget right there. That was beautiful. I'm loving this, Linda. You hit on something. You said for those that have a full-time job, you know, work evenings and weekends. I can be a testimony to that. And I actually figured this out the other day. I actually sat down and figured this out, that on average, I'm looking at a worst-case scenario of a commute of, say, a round trip of 2 hours. You come home and you want to eat with your family. You want to spend, say, an hour of time with your family in addition to eating. And what I came up with, if you want 8 hours of sleep, everyone has, on average, and I would say about 3 hours in the evening to their own. This is including, you've already done your relaxation, you've wound down a little bit during your meal with your family, etc. Because I've lived it, I know that this is what you have. We all have time. People that listen to that might have said, and I was one of those in the past that said, I don't have time, I've got to do this, that, and the other, then I want to relax. And when I relax, I'm just going to sit in front of the tube the rest of the night. Turn off the TV. Everyone, turn off the TV.
Exactly.
I stopped watching sports like I used to when I was younger. I actually did watch the Super Bowl. I do have my moments. I have to watch the Lakers now and then, you know, okay. But we have 3 hours every single night. Do you need to work every single night? No, of course not. There will be burnout times. Weekends, you want to carve out a good portion of that for your family and loved ones. Of course, that comes first. But there's always time. So, Linda, you just keep hammering in these little nuggets. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Well, you know, Brian, when I wanted to invest in the stock market, I actually got up at 4 o'clock every morning and studied stock charts and read articles and did research and invested when the market opened at 6:30 Pacific, and then went to my job. And so I was actually working in a full-time job the year that I made $1 million in the stock market.
There you go. And
so I was doing that part-time. So you can do it.
And there's a commitment.
And that's all about
passion.
mindset.
Yeah, commitment, passion, all of those have to be present, the mindset. And it may not come for you overnight. It definitely won't. Habits take time to break. I forget how long it was on average. Was it 3 weeks, 2 weeks, some number of days? If you continually do the same thing or change your one habit and do something different for some period of time, your habit will have changed.
Yeah.
I rarely watch TV
anymore.
They
say 21 days. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it, 21 days. You won't believe how you do not miss television, for instance. I keep picking on television because I think it's the biggest stealer of time in an American household.
It is.
Yeah,
I agree.
So it's all about changing what you're doing. Do it one day at a time. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You can't swallow it whole. So take it one step at a time. Get a mentor, get a partner like I have Kathy. We bounce ideas off each other every day. Linda, I believe it looks like you have a partner. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong on your website. There's I forget her name. I'm horrible.
Oh, Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Kelly Eli is a partner to me in the 2 teleclass series that we recorded, and that came about because Kelly's actually a spiritual coach, and she was seeing some spiritual shifts that were changing in the world, and I saw financial shifts that were changing in the world. And we said, wow, wouldn't it be interesting for us to sit down and record a conversation in a class and teach people the shifts that we see coming? And so we came from 2 totally different directions, but we got to the same conclusions, and it was really pretty interesting. So that's how we paired up and teamed up for the teleclasses. But she's actually not really my partner. I mean, we have completely separate businesses, but we just teamed up for these 2 teleclasses. Be Prepared to Be Rich is the first one, and then the current one, which is Be Prepared to Invest and Be Rich. So she's great, and she's wonderful to have a conversation with and talk to, and we record that and create transcripts and CDs from that.
Fantastic. And that's,
Well, I like that because that is.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I like that because it says be prepared to be rich.
Right.
So that goes back to what you were talking about in the beginning, and that was the mindset part of it. But what else do we have to do in preparation for becoming rich?
Well, I could have put the last two steps at the beginning, which are give thanks and give away. So an attitude of gratitude is really important. And a lot of people get stuck, looking at the glass half empty instead of the glass half full. And it's really important to stay in a positive mindset, because then you have the mindset of belief, and you need to believe that you can achieve your goals and that you can create wealth. And so you've got to stay in that positive mindset. So giving thanks is a really good way to stay in that positive mindset. So I tell people, if you've got some really bad things happening, you've lost your job or your house, or some really terrible things are going on, sit down and write down 100 things that you're grateful for. And that will change your mindset right away and get you focused more on the positive. So that's one thing that doesn't cost any money that they can do. And another thing is it's important to give things, to give away money or to give away things. So if they've lost their job and they're uncomfortable giving away money, if they can give away their time and maybe donate their time or their skills to someone, that would be a really good thing to do. But by giving away, if you can give away money, that is a good thing to do. And that's what a lot of very wealthy people do, because they know that the money comes back to them. So that's why so many wealthy people have charitable foundations and organizations, because they know the money comes right back as soon as you give it away. And more comes back to you as you give it away, because you're telling the universe that you can be trusted to help other people with the money that is given to you, that you actually give it to others that are less fortunate, and you're doing the right thing with it. So the more that you can give away, the more will come back to you. So that's something people can focus on also.
Well, our friend JW says that is a great message, and it is, Linda. That's very heartfelt and a wonderful, wonderful thought to put out there, because I think that sometimes if we're in a position of losing our home or not being able to make ends meet, that it's not always the first thing that we think about is giving, because we're in a crisis. So that was well taken and well put. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Sure. I think, again, people all have skills, and we take them for granted because they're our passion, so they're usually easy for us when they're our passion. But other people need our skills and talents. And so if you don't have money to give away, then volunteer your time to a charitable organization or to a neighbor or friend that needs whatever that skill is that you have, and you will feel richer. That will get you in the right mindset to be rich.
Yeah, and I think that the attitude of gratitude actually kind of sets the table, so to speak, in your mind to put you in that frame of mind to give, whether you have anything financially to give or talents. It just puts you in that frame of mind. I can remember so many times in the car driving, and it'd be gloomy outside or raining, and most people would react, oh my gosh, what a nasty, horrible day. I just start saying, thank you for the rain, the precipitation, without which we wouldn't have water to sustain our lives. Thank you for the clouds, the beautiful. Thank you for the eyesight I have, all the way down to the most ridiculous level. And you just say it over and over.
Exactly.
Look around thank you for this picture on my desk. Thank you for this computer. Thank you for my friend Kathy. Thank you, Linda, for coming on our show. I mean, I just would rattle them off like a machine gun, and within 10 minutes, whole mind shift, complete mind shift. And I'm going into a place I don't want to go. But when I get there, big smile on my face saying howdy doody to everybody, and whether their attitude was down or not, it didn't bother me one bit. I just kept going the course. So attitude of gratitude, another nugget. My goodness, you're just full of them. And to give away things like time and finances. Yeah, that's another thing we keep hearing over and over, don't we, Kathy? Every time we go to a seminar.
Yes.
And that's another point, if I may interject, that going to these seminars, these events, Wealth Builders Summit, if you're in a network marketing company, attend their events, because the training that you see, the things that go into your ears, most of which is information that as you repeatedly go to these, you will come to the realization, like Kathy and I have, and this is not very tangible. You actually have to go, and it does cost money at times. Kathy flew down. It cost her money to come to this event. It was important. We would not have met Linda had we not been there. We would not have met these wonderful twins that were there that will be on our show in the future. We would not have met Mark Victor Hansen, all these people we wouldn't have met had we not been there. Plus, we would not have gotten that message again told to us from different people on stage that Linda is now chiming in with the same exact type of message. It's very important. Go to every possible event you can afford to, both time and money-wise, to go to. If you can only go for 2 of the days because it's a weekend event, go for the Saturday, Sunday part of the Friday through Saturday, Sunday. But just show up. Be sure to go to those events.
And we will be watching Linda speaking at some point as well.
Absolutely.
So we're looking forward to that, Linda.
Great, me too.
Yeah, I think you would be a fantastic presence on stage, and I think it's coming. It's coming.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. It's been an interesting journey so far.
So where do you think is going to be the best place to invest as things start moving forward?
Well, I think we're going to have some very interesting opportunities. I think, however, we're going to have quite a lot of volatility, quite a bit more than we had last year. And so it's going to be somewhat tricky. But one of the major long-term trends that we're seeing right now is the decline of the dollar, except it's had a reversal here, which is now at its highest level that it's been in 7 months. So it's not unusual for trends like that to happen, a counter trend, and for things to zigzag down rather than go down in a straight line. That's common. So you're going to have those zigzags, but realize that you're going to have a longer term trend of the dollar declining, which really favors commodities in the future as one of the best areas to invest. Commodities would be things that come from the ground, things like precious metals or oil, agriculture, things like that. So we haven't seen commodities really outperform for quite a long period of time. And that's good news because that means that they're undervalued. But generally we see the stock market and the commodities trade about every 25 years. They trade leadership. So we've had, booming stock market since 1982. And now commodities have really started to lead, but we're early in the process. So there's a long time that people have to build wealth by investing in commodities. But I just want to caution people, we're going to see some really extreme swings this year. So don't go out tomorrow and invest in those things because we're going to see, again, some pretty dramatic swings. And what they want to do is when they see a dramatic swing, that's when they want to buy because that's when, you're at a low point. But don't just go out randomly and decide to buy today or tomorrow.
Good advice.
Well, that's some good information to know because we're inclined to do just the opposite, right?
Right. Wait for the right opportunity. There's plenty of time to get in and to buy, but you want to be very particular about finding the right times to buy. You don't want to be, buying at the wrong time because of the volatility. You could have 50% swings very easily. So, I don't want people to get hurt or to get frightened and be getting out at the wrong time. So wait for the market to provide those buying opportunities for you.
Let me ask you this. Should we have somebody doing this investing for us? Is this something, when you work with clients, Linda, that you lead them into the right direction as to where they need to put their money, or do you lead them to somebody else that assists them with that? What do you suggest there?
So I do not give individual investment advice to people. What I do is educate them about money principles and about where future opportunities are and about how to identify, trends. So what I try to do is educate people about money and about how to keep money so that when when they have a high income, how to transpose that into net worth or how to identify future trends to invest in. So I don't give individual investment advice. I am a fan of financial advisors. However, I think that the buy and hold model is pretty much dead. So most financial advisors are buy and hold investors. So that's where my philosophy is a little bit different than most financial advisors at this point, because I don't believe in buy and hold anymore, because over the last decade, buy and hold has had a negative return. If you bought for the last 10 years and held either NASDAQ stocks or Dow Jones Industrial Average stocks or the Standard & Poor's 500 largest companies, the 500 largest companies in the U.S., if you held any of those three for 10 years, you'd have a negative return.
Wow.
So buy and hold is not alive and well. It's not working. So what people have to do is be more proactive and learn about vehicles where they can make money when the market goes down, so that if we have another situation like 2008 where the markets are selling off sharply, they have some things that they can invest in that will make money when the market goes down. And now it's easier than ever to have those kinds of investments. In the past, they didn't even really exist, but now in the last several years, we have exchange traded funds that you can actually make money when the market goes down. So I teach people how to use that. I teach techniques about investing, but I don't give individual investment advice to people.
Okay.
Let's cover a couple more of those steps you were talking about in your 8 steps to wealth. Just pick one by random that we haven't talked about, and help our listeners understand. You know, there are 8 steps. That's not very many. I'm sure there are underlying additional effort involved in each one of them, but if you could just do a brief overview of maybe a couple more, because these nuggets are just too good.
Okay. Let's talk about a nest egg, because one of the things that people need to do to get started on the road to wealth is to have some savings to invest. And so, you know, John D. Rockefeller was one of the millionaires that I studied, and he made a very meager salary when he was an accounting clerk, and yet he was able to save a lot of money. And that's something that is hard for Americans to save money. We hear about that all the time, that we're not very good savers. And yet people need to have some sort of nest egg to really get their investment plan going, or to start their business, or whatever they're going to do to create their fortune. They need to have a nest egg. And so people can either sell items that they have. They can sell them on Craigslist. I know people that have sold pool tables or sport equipment that they didn't use anymore, or their timeshares. They've sold the week or 2 weeks they had on the timeshares to people. Find ways to accumulate some funds so you can get that nest egg, so you can start your investment program. So I would say saving is very important, and just start with that.
So nest egg, and then we saw, all of us did, a gentleman walking across the stage talking about eBay. You talked about selling pool tables, and he said basically that everybody has something to sell. He showed an example of someone who took a jar and filled it up with dirt from Texas, and I forget, what did that sell for? Do you guys remember?
I don't remember how much it sold for.
I think it was like $150 or something.
For dirt.
Crazy.
For dirt. I mean, it was ridiculous. Another story was he found his brother. They were walking along, and there were some used sneakers that were thrown up in a tree. His brother climbed the tree, came down, sold those for $23 or something like that. So you may not think you have things to sell, but you could go do a quick inventory of your garage and sell a lot of stuff. And we just lost our feed. Oh my! We'll be right back if you can still hear us. Alright, we are still recording. Oopsies. Are you still there?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, let me get Linda back. My Ubu just quit. It just went down.
Yeah.
Alright,
Well, I couldn't understand you guys the last. We're back.
All right, we're going into recovery mode. We lost our video feed. We apologize. Looks like we are still on. Gonna have to do some repair work, but while you guys chat, I'm going to fix our camera views here real quick. So maybe pick another one of your 8 steps there, Linda, and while I repair this video feed.
Okay. Well, another one of the 8 steps to wealth is protecting your money. And one of the things that I noticed from famous millionaires when they created their wealth, they actually did not diversify when they were building their wealth. They actually concentrated their wealth. Andrew Carnegie said, put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket. And that's something that is not typically taught, by an investment advisor for obvious reasons because they have liability. But it's something that I noticed that famous millionaires did use to make their millions. And, we saw this in the 70s. People made money in oil, and in the 80s, and in the 90s and 2000s, and well, in the 90s, certainly technology, in the 2000s, real estate. So typically people have been concentrated to build wealth, and that is a faster way to build wealth. But once you've built it, then that's when you need to diversify. You need to deleverage, get rid of your debt, and diversify out of that concentrated position. Otherwise, what happens is what a lot of people have seen, where they had all their wealth in real estate, and then that bubble pops, and then they don't have any wealth anymore. So protect is definitely one of the steps that a lot of people miss because, they didn't want to sell their real estate. I mean, how many people told me, if I had a nickel for every person who told me, oh, my retirement plan is to sell my house someday, and then when it came time to do it, they didn't do it. So now they have no retirement plan. Yeah. Or people that had technology companies, and these, 20-year-olds were worth $10 million, and we tried to get them to diversify out of their stock, and they wouldn't sell one single share. And now they're, maybe worth $300,000, and, they would have been set for life. So one of the important steps is to protect, and that is the point where you diversify. Is once you've made your fortune, you need to diversify.
Good advice once again. Those poor 20-year-olds that were living the high life went back to probably flipping burgers at McDonald's to pay the rent, or had to move because they were all in Silicon Valley where it cost an arm and a leg to live. But
yeah.
Well, maybe In-N-Out Burger.
That would be a better choice because I understand each employee is actually they give them shares of the company or something like that to be an employee. Pretty interesting. Excellent. Well, I apologize to everyone. We're having some technical issues as we go along tonight. More than normal. I am having a lot of storm activity where I live currently in Southern California, which is uncommon for us, but we are getting quite a bit of rain, and we're near the mudslides. I'm not anywhere near it personally, but we apologize for those technical difficulties. All right, more. We've probably done 5 or 6 of those so far. Of those 8 steps to wealth. Unless, Kathy, do we have any questions before we go any further? Anything coming through that might jump out?
Well, I'm experiencing audio difficulty. I'm catching like every so many words. I don't know if you can hear me clearly, but I haven't caught a little bit very much.
Yeah, it is actually breaking up just a tad here and there when you're talking now. It was going solid. Signals on this end indicate everything's going good, but sound and video are showing us otherwise. My goodness.
So, anyway, what was the 7th step, Linda?
That was giving thanks. So we talked a little bit about that.
Oh, okay.
One thing I would like to tell people, I have a saying, one of my favorite sayings is don't invest by looking in the rearview mirror. And, for people that have 401ks, which, most people do, or have IRAs that are invested, what I found is that in 2008, they typically jumped out of stocks and went into bonds because the track record on bonds looked really good. And so what happened was they chose it because, it had this great track record. Well, I encourage people to look at why did bonds have a great track record. Well, bonds actually do well when interest rates are declining. And interest rates peaked in 1982 and have been declining ever since. And now we're at almost, zero rate on bonds. So, of course, the track record is going to look great because, we've had all these years of terrific performance. But when we look forward and we're at almost a zero rate for interest rates, what we can see is that eventually rates are going to have to start to go up again. And when rates go up, that means bond values are going to go down. So those people that are in bond mutual funds, can look forward to, unfortunately, difficult times for bonds for many years ahead. And some of the best experts out there are saying that we're actually in another bubble right now, which bubbles are defined as being invisible when you're in them. You can only see them in hindsight. Other than, there is some evidence to see them, but most people don't see them. To most people, they're invisible until it's in hindsight. But we are experiencing a bubble in treasuries right now, which when interest rates start to go up, we could see 20 to 30 years of negative returns on bond funds. So I encourage people to look forward to invest and not in the rearview mirror. Don't look at your track record on the performance record on your 401k and say, well, bonds have done well. Look at this 18% return here. Therefore, I'm going to invest in that. No, look forward and say we're at, an inflection point where rates will go up eventually, and those will force bonds to go down. So just be very cautious about that and look forward to making your investment decisions and not in the rearview mirror of the past.
Excellent.
That's excellent. Yeah.
I want to remind everyone that's watching either live or recorded that Linda is pictured to your right on the web page, our left. I hope I'm pointing the correct direction. But be sure to click on her nose, and that will take you straight to her website. Has a short intro video, and opt into her website, get more information. She is a wealth, no pun intended, of information, and you want to definitely get hooked up with Linda and find out what she is about, so she can in turn help you to create that everything we've been talking about, the mindset, and she can go in more depth for the 8 steps of wealth, etc., and coaching programs. Unbelievable that we discovered this, I keep saying the word gem, but this gem at a seminar that we were all attending. She sat directly behind Kathy and I. We engaged in conversation. Cannot stress enough, go to events. I keep saying that, but it's that important. Don't you agree, Kathy? You remember that was told to us, go to events, go to events, go to events?
Absolutely. Well, it's just a wealth of, here we go again. It is a wealth of information, but you just meet wonderful people, and Linda is absolutely one of those fabulous people to meet when you go to a function like that. The other thing is you just have an opportunity with Linda, what she has expertise in wealth building. There's so many people out there that have other expertise in areas that you may not. So, yeah, it's a great place to go and be involved and learn new things and meet great new people.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry if I'm kind of stuttering. I'm getting this just funny feedback, so I keep hearing myself.
Yeah, it's breaking
so that's
up it's breaking up just a touch, but we can make out, or I can, exactly what you're saying. And if I can make it out, then our viewers are able to hear it. Thank goodness, because it pipes through here. But,
perfect. So I just sound screwed because I keep hearing myself talking.
It's like
but anyway, yes, it's an absolutely wonderful to go to a function like that to be able to meet people. And Linda, you are just so friendly and warm and giving. And like Brian said, we just felt that and knew that the moment that we met you. And happy that that you came into our life. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
And sharing here with our viewers.
Oh, that's great. It's just a pleasure to be here, and you two are really special. And the mission that you're on to really educate people and bring information to them is awesome. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to tell you, we are like getting close to for over an hour here. And there is anything else, Linda, that you would like to share with us, that would be great. Just want to tell you that it was just a pleasure to meet you a week ago, and I both look forward to a long-term relationship with you. I was telling Brian this today. I said we have a mindset of wealth. We need to stay really connected with Linda so that she can help us journey in telling us what we need to do with all of this wealth that we're obtaining.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go. Well, I just wanted to let people know that if they go to thevisionaryinvestor.com, the first hour of my interview with Kelly Eli talking with me about be prepared to be rich, and we talk about mindset, they actually get that first hour for free. It's an audio download that they can listen to. So if they want to hear more about mindset, they can go there.
Excellent.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you can get to that website as well by either clicking on her nose that way, or beneath on the image there with her and Kelly, their picture together. Definitely click on that, opt in, and get that free hour. My goodness, it's great to get free, and that will give you an idea of whether or not what they have is right for you. And that's a wonderful idea, Linda, to actually let them kind of kick the tires and see what you guys are all about. Fantastic. And all I can say is, just from knowing you from this short period of time, I can almost guarantee it's going to be high quality information that anybody could benefit from. Just opt in. Be sure to opt in. You can opt out at any time, so it's free to opt in. It's free to opt out if you don't like what you see, but odds are you're going to love what you see and hear. So be sure to go connect with Linda and Kelly through their site. Is it Kelly? Did I get that right?
Yes.
I'm horrible
Kelly.
with names.
Yes, you did.
Horrible. Thank you. All right. Well, I would like to also express the same sentiment. Thank you so much, Linda, for joining us on the show, taking the time out. It was a bit of a challenge for all of us to get this to work technologically, but we made it. Had a few issues, audio, video, but the bottom line is the information, and that is what is important. It may have sounded a little sketchy, it may have looked a little sketchy, but the important thing is that you got the information out of it, whether or not the quality was perfect or not. Don't use that as an excuse to say, oh, well, I don't want to watch this video because it's not very high quality. Well, turn it on and listen to it only. I mean, turn your mind around, make it positive. Some great nuggets that Linda brought forward to us today. I won't go over them again. You can easily rewind this video or play it, the recorded version, once we get it up. I want to thank you. Thank you, everyone who's still on the live stream, for hanging out with us beyond our normal time. Kathy, thank you once again. You're always that comforting factor
Brian.
in my life, lately when I'm going through little things, and I just talk to Kathy and everything gets better. She's a wonderful partner, but even better than that, she's a wonderful friend. And Linda, we look forward to having you again on the show, if you don't mind, down the road.
Yes.
I'd love to.
Like
Thank
Kathy
you.
said,
Love to.
excellent. Like Kathy said,
Thanks for having me.
You betcha. You betcha. All right, with that, I will not take up everyone else's time any further. I want to say thanks again for viewing the show. We will see you all again next week. All right, bye-bye now.
Have a great evening.
All right. Good night.